and the city manager is here. Mr. City Manager, Eric Batista, thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I got some questions lined up here. You can text over a question if you got one at 508-799-PIKE, 508-799-7453. We appreciate you doing this.
Yes.
Everybody wants to talk about, the Patriots.
Let's talk about the Patriots.
Yeah.
Drake May.
I'm sure you haven't heard any or had any questions about the city dealing with the snow lately.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what most of these questions, we ask for them ahead of time, and that's what most of them are about. Now, I remember last year you said, I don't want to misquote you here, but we missed the mark. The city missed the mark on handling that big ice storm. Mm-hmm. We had last year. Now, this is a completely different storm that we just had, obviously, and
correct,
and much bigger. How do you think the DPW did this time around, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think overall they did a great job in trying to clear the streets as best as possible, widen them so people can get through. But one of the challenges about the storm is the actual temperatures, right? The freezing temperatures, is creating a bit of a problem in making sure the snow melts. A lot of the streets are compact, so we need that to melt. We've been treating the roads, but it's not melting as we want. So that's an area there where it's ongoing. Every single day, every single night since the storm, we haven't stopped. Crews are out there. We've been having a lot of calls. We've been encouraging people, if we missed your street or their street hasn't been treated or anything, reach out to 311 and we'll definitely be there. But I think overall, we had, roughly 370 pieces of equipment out there. It's probably one of the highest we've ever had. Individuals worked more than 36 hours, just working, just trying to make sure to clear everything as best as possible. So there was a lot that needs to happen, and a lot more needs to happen because there are significant piles of snow all over the city. And so just last night, we started to remove some snow from some of the areas. We started to focus more on the schools. We worked with the schools to try to address some of the areas in the schools to remove from, because oftentimes the snow gets pushed to the corner of the street, and then you're driving, you can't really see. So we want to get the snow out of there.
I noticed that yesterday driving around. It's kind of dangerous because you can't see anything coming either way. What is another couple questions that came in like this? Is there a plan to put this snow somewhere? Someone suggested dumping it into Lake Quinsigamond, but I don't think you're able to do that.
No, we can't.
There's some environmental law. There's all sorts of stuff mixed in with the snow.
Correct, and we don't know what's something in the snow. When the plow is pushing, you can have a bottle, you can have paper, you can have all types of different chemicals, especially even the chemicals that are the majority of the chemicals that are in the salt or anything like that, et cetera. Like, there's just so much stuff on the street that when the dump truck is picking them up, you can't throw them in there. So there are areas that we dump the snow, we get it out of here and we dump it. And that allows us to remove it from these areas, whether you see big embankments here in the downtown area or, like I said, in some of the schools. But if people have any concerns or any areas that they feel as though, hey, this pile is too big, we need some help, feel free to reach out to 311 and we'll try to address that. But this is ongoing, and we're going to be ongoing for the next probably not week, if not 10 days. We're expected to potentially have some snow this weekend as well. So the work continues to try to clear as best as possible these streets.
Now, yesterday I was reading there was a few school buses that got stuck. A lot of people actually weren't expecting the schools to be open.
Yeah.
One person asked, is there somebody from the city who actually drives those routes to check on that? Now, I know one town yesterday in Massachusetts still kept their schools closed, and that was Middleborough. And that's because they had people from the town officials, the school committee, driving the bus routes to check them out. And after doing that, they decided this is not safe enough. Do people from the city do that here? Is that something that's practiced?
Yeah, so we have inspectors as part of DPW. They inspect the roads, and they give an indication to the department in terms of what are the conditions that they're seeing out there in the streets. We have conversations with the superintendent and his team. They assess it also based on their ability to clear the schools. So they have a custodial team, facilities team that clears around the schools as well. And so in combination, in that conversation back and forth, is a determination to cancel or delay the schools. I think one of the challenges is, yes, we want to make sure families are safe. But we also want to be cognizant of the fact that we don't want to, I guess, take into consideration too many cancellations, right? Because also it gets you too far into the summer.
Well, that's true, but I mean, if it's unsafe, it's unsafe. I'd rather have the kids go to school, into July, and I know they're yelling at me. Parents are yelling at me, and teachers are yelling right now. Shut up, Mike! But it's like rather better safe than sorry.
That's true, and you're right on that. And I think those are the things as they weigh in when they're trying to consider those decisions. I think the buses, right, in the areas that they got stuck, I think it's all due to the fact that we need to widen the streets a little bit more. And so we need to do better in that area. And so that's where we're continuously working at it to try to clear these snowbanks that we have in the streets.
And one of the problems there is people have to park on those streets. And sometimes you're left with nothing. Like, the one of the rules is you have to park on the odd side of the street.
Correct.
Sometimes there's nothing because everyone's over there. You've got to take a chance, or there's nowhere else to park. I mean, is there any other alternative to that? Because there was like 400 something vehicles towed, or am I getting that number out of whack?
We had
it was
over 400 towed.
Yeah. And I'm thinking sometimes, and I've been in that situation. It's like, well, I got to take my chance and I got to park out in the street.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of something you can appeal to there and say, hey, listen, there was nothing left?
It's one of those. It's very challenging to do that. One, there's no appeal as part of that. But it is challenging in the sense of trying to find parking, especially in our congested 3-decker neighborhoods.
Yeah,
I lived in those neighborhoods for over 30 years. Is up in the Providence Street area. And you're driving around trying to find a lot, or you put your chair there, or you put a cone, and you're then fighting neighbors on who took my spot.
Right.
I spend hours clearing it.
Yeah.
So I totally get it and understand it. I think one of the challenges is we're trying to clear as much as possible the streets. There are some streets where we can't even get a plow through because there's so many vehicles on both sides.
Right.
So the plow can't even go through and becomes a challenge. And so that's when we have to take that into consideration and remove some vehicles to at least allow the plow to get through. And then, oftentimes we then ask residents to help us to not to throw the snow on the ground, on the street.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's tough.
It's tough you run out of room with snow like this.
Correct, because, we have over 20 inches of snow. So it's like, where do you throw the snow? So it becomes a challenge, but at the same time, we have to find a way to try to get the plows to clear. So it's one of those things that, it's challenging because frustration of finding a parking, we got to get the plows through. And then it's like, where do I put the snow? Where do I park? But you didn't plow my street. I need you to come and plow.
It's like it's coming in all directions.
Correct. Yeah. So we're trying to create that balance and trying to, work with residents as best as possible. But oftentimes, the most important thing is trying to get the plow through to clear the streets for folks.
Since you mentioned it, what is the official policy on putting a chair out there in that space that you broke your back digging for an hour?
I don't know exactly what that policy is. I don't think we have an actual ordinance or anything prohibiting someone for putting a cone or anything on their spot. But I know that that's just a common practice, not only here, probably across the entire nation.
Yeah. So people, I don't know if you can officially say something that people can do that and they're allowed to do that.
I can't officially say that.
Okay, all right. I don't want to put you on the spot. Yeah,
okay. But I think I think it's a common practice, and I don't think that's something that we regulate either.
Okay, and then there's a couple of questions about the sidewalks. One person said that he lives on a corner lot. The sidewalk, he came out. The sidewalk had 5.5 feet of snow on it, packed from the city, plowing off the streets, and he has a shovel. Is he responsible still to take care of that huge amount of snow that was piled up there on the corner from the plows?
Yeah, it depends on how your property abuts that sidewalk. And if your property is exactly abutting that sidewalk, then there is a responsibility for that resident to clear that. And like I said, it's one of those challenging things because we're trying to clear and push the snow out and open up the roads as best as possible. But unfortunately, the snow is going right into the sidewalks. And so some people, they clear the sidewalks, like myself. You clear the sidewalks, then a few hours later, it's all filled again because the plow came and pushed it all through, or your driveway, right?
Right,
And then you have to go back out there and clear all that up. And sometimes it's even bigger or thicker chunks because
it's all packed in.
Exactly.
I think that's what this person's talking about. And it sounds like they're like, what do I do? Like, this person needs help.
Yeah.
And there was another question that came in of someone who's taking care of their neighbor's sidewalk who's disabled, but they can't take care of them all the time, and they're wondering, would that person still get fined even though they can't get out there and physically shovel?
Yeah, well, oftentimes there is an ability of a discretion in those situations, and we work with a lot of volunteers. We worked in the past with ROTC programs, volunteer students who'll go out specifically only for seniors or people who are disabled. They'll go out there, and as long as you call them, they'll be able to go and assist. So I recommend anybody that's in these positions to call 311, and then 311 can triage that with a quality of life team and our DPW crews to help and assist in terms of getting volunteers or anybody else that can help out in clearing those areas.
Okay. And then out of all these snow questions, I got a lot, but we only have limited time. There's the one person, just to change gears here, that says, let me see here. How much longer are we going to be plagued with Spectrum as our only cable option?
Yes, that's a very good question. And it's a tough question because one of the biggest challenges that we've had, right, for many, many years, most recently, everything was about cable television, right?
Yeah.
Streaming wasn't really a thing.
Right.
But then when streaming became a thing, right, now it's internet based. And so now there's more and more companies looking to invest in municipalities to create broadband and lay an infrastructure of broadband. We've been actually working with a number of different companies who are interested in laying broadband here in the community, here in the city. You're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of investment.
Right.
But that is something that right now we're actively working on and working with. I believe if not 2-3 vendors, companies nationwide that are interested in laying fiber in our city.
I saw over the summer, I believe Verizon was all over.
So Verizon is right now doing so across the city. They've done so in different pockets of the city right now. They have a schedule of laying fiber. I don't know if they're going to be laying fiber across the entire city. They're picking certain spots of where they best feel that they can lay fiber. And it all comes down to a penetration of the market, right? And so if Verizon can penetrate the market, the Spectrum market, a certain percentage, whether it's 30%, 40%, et cetera, then it makes it harder for another company to come in because they feel as though, well, I'm not going to go in and invest $300 million when I only then can be able to penetrate 20% of the market from Verizon and Spectrum. So that becomes a kind of a little competitive situation. It's all about who can build the fastest, who can get in the fastest and build enough infrastructure and penetrate those markets so that they can take away, per se, those customers. Because it's very unlikely that Verizon is going to take away, 100% of Spectrum. There are people out there who are diehard Spectrum fans. It's hard to believe.
I know.
And then,
I've never been a diehard cable company fan ever in my life.
Exactly. But then, when you have Verizon comes in. Let's say they do about 30% or so. There's a certain mark in terms of where those companies feel as though it's a viable market to come in and compete. Otherwise, it's pointless for me to come in. But right now, we're actively working with some broadband companies who are interested in investing in the city and laying fiber in across the city. And we're in conversations because there's things that we want, there's things that they want. And so it's a matter of coming to a solution here.
All right. City Manager Eric Batista is here with us, and I appreciate you coming in. One more question before I let you go.
Sure.
We've been talking about sledding this morning because this is to take a positive away from this weather. Sledding's awesome.
Yes.
You grew up here.
Absolutely.
Where did you ever go sledding when you were a kid? And where did you go?
Green Hill Park.
Green Hill Park, right?
That's
the best place.
That's always the place you go sledding. I still haven't taken my son. My son's 5. We created our own mountains in the street here, and he sled for his first time because we haven't had a big storm like this.
Right, it's been a while.
So my son hasn't had the opportunity to go sledding in your backyard or or in the street like that. So we did that for the first time, but I need to take them to Green Hill because that is a staple of the city. Anytime you want to sled, you go to Green Hill Park and you go down that hill.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we were talking about, in front of Quinsigamond Community College.
Yes, that's another one. I
That's
never
a
did that
fun
one,
place.
though.
That's pretty good. Not as good as Green Hill Park. You don't get as fast as you do at Green Hill Park. Yeah.
Green Hill Park, there's a lot of crashes happening up there.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You got to watch out for other people.
Yes.
Yeah, you need a traffic director out there sometime. All right, Mr. City Manager, thank you for coming in.
Thank
It's
you.
Eric Batista. Again, a lot of concerns, questions. You can call 311.
Yes.
And then there's the 311 app.
Yes.
Which I've found out to be very helpful in using it, especially because there's a delay in trash collection.
Correct.
Because of the storm. A lot of
Yes.
people may not know that. So that's how I find out things like that.
Yes.
So,
and we're actually going to be making an improvement in our alert system where we're working through the kind of some of the challenges right now. We're testing it out. It's going to be a new alert system that people can get direct text messages for whether it's traffic, whether it's trash, whether it's any updates that we can provide as a city. People can sign up kind of a la carte, what are the updates they want, and they'll be able to get those on a text message on a very frequent basis. So it's a new system that we're going to be coming out with. The old one, there was a breach nationally on that company, so we've shifted our focus on a different software. So we're very excited about it. We're hoping in the next month or so we'll be able to launch, and that will give more accessibility to people who have access to information and updates on what's going on.
all right. Well, Mr. City Manager, thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Mike.
Hopefully we can do it again next month.
Yeah, definitely.
And, if you ever have a question for the city manager leading up to the next time we do it next month, feel free to text it in 508-799-PIKE or send us a message on our social media. Thanks again, sir.